What's going on, guys? Hope you're having a great day out there today. Guys, we are working on the Traxxas Sledge, and I just got a goodie bag for M2C Racing. This is the new motor mount design we're testing out on the Traxxas Sledge, and we are going back to a tried and proved method, or mount, should I say, with the one-piece design where the motor and center diff are all connected as one. And sent me along the whole kit, the instructions. Now, guys, obviously, this is my first time putting this together, so this might not be the most detailed instructions on how to put this together, but I'm going to do my best because I'm going to be learning as we go. Along with the kit, they also sent me a set of new wheel hubs. I believe these are +5, I do believe, so you get a little more width, and then the nut is shrunk down and extended. So now you don't have the nut hidden in there where you can't grab a hold of it with a normal, 17mm socket. So these are definitely going to be a great fit. I really like the sledge tires. The sledgehammer tires. However, I don't like the wheel nuts and how they sit in there, because definitely doesn't make it too easy to get off. But anyway, guys, I'm going to get working on this thing. First thing I'm going to do, I kind of started looking through the instructions real quick, is I'm going to go ahead and pull out the old motor and center differential. You want to get that pulled out, your top center brace. Basically rip everything out except your ESC and get all that out of there. And then there's a guide bar in here that you mount up, and I guess you drill a couple new holes in the chassis and get this thing started. So I'm going to go ahead, get all the electronics ripped out of this, and I'll bring you guys back after I get that done. Man, guys, I just started pulling some stuff out of the packet. I mean, the machining work that M2C Racing does is just phenomenal. I mean, the fit and finish of everything is so smooth. There is no slop. I mean, the parts that they make, guys, is just on a whole nother level. Really can't be impressed. And a huge shout out to Mitchell and Avery Looper, guys. The stuff you guys put together is just amazing. But I'm going to get tearing. I'm going to stop admiring the parts here, and we're going to get the motor and the center diff pulled out of this thing, and I'll bring you guys back then. All right, everyone. Well, we're getting it torn apart. I got the motor mount, and the center diff pulled out of this thing, and I mounted up the first piece here. This is a guide block to get the third hole drilled into your chassis to mount the whole one-piece design here. And it's stamped, everything's stamped in here with the instructions. This part is marked 1403, I believe. You mount it up your chassis with the first 2 screws, and then this now is the third hole we're going to be drilling out and creating for the third mount, for obviously the whole motor slide here to mount up as such. So I'm going to go ahead and get that hole drilled out. Definitely suggest on anything like this using blue Loctite in final assembly, so make sure you guys put that in there. But we're going to go ahead and get all this stuff mounted up and continue on. All right, guys, we got the block unscrewed. We got the extra hole drilled into the chassis right here, and they also supply along with the kit. I'm not best with some of the tooling names, but this is like kind of the reamer bit that will create the hole and also create your dish, your insert there for your pan head. I guess it's a pan head. See, yeah, I'm not a hardware person. But anyway, you guys know what I mean. You're going to drill this now from the bottom of the chassis and create that little divot in the chassis for the screw to sit flush in there. And that'll be our third hole. And I believe that's the only hole new hole you have to create, at least that I've noticed so far. But I'll show you guys what else we got to do. All right, guys. Well, where we're at the moment, we got all the holes drilled in the chassis. All that's ready to go. I got the little rear support brace that's kind of just meant to help keep the motor from slapping against the chassis. Does have that little bit of a gap. A lot of people, on the Creightons and other cars, fill the bottom with silicone or different things or piece of padding. M2C is providing a little aluminum plate that's going to mount to the chassis, and I'll show you guys what that looks like. So it doesn't allow it to flex and bend the motor mount, twist the motor, or anything else, which is a great design. I got the front slide mounted up to the motor. I also got my brand new gear now that I can finally put new gears on this thing, and I got a brand new 15 tooth. I went up 2 teeth at the moment on this rocket motor. We will be changing out the ESC here also, but at the moment we're just dealing with this part. But got the new gear on there finally, and everything fit up nicely. So I'm going to go ahead and get the actual center slide mount mounted up and the rear support tab mounted onto the chassis, and I'll show you guys once that's all together. All right, guys, we got the center slide part hooked up and the rear chassis brace. You will reuse 2 of the 4 original motor mount screws, those big wide button cap styles. Get that mounted up on there. At that point, it should look like this. You should have this plate mounted up on there. Zip tie loosely around the motor just to help keep that, whenever you're adjusting your slide, that way everything kind of all stays in place. But got this loosely fitted up. I didn't tighten this down all the way yet. I have put blue Loctite in there, but by the time I get this all together, it'll be starting to dry. But loosely put that in there. And then next we are going to work on the front diff mount here, which is the 1405. We're going to get this mounted up on there with some blue Loctite. And then we're going to be ready to kind of get the rest of this put together. Pretty much all the screws you need do come with the kit and drill bits and everything. There's really only those 2 screws so far that I found. 2 of these that you will reuse from the old motor mount to basically hold the rear motor support in on the new one. So that's about it. We're going to go ahead and get this piece mounted up, and we'll bring you guys back then. All right, and there we have it. Now we got the center and the other support, the rear support for the center diff frame mounted up in there. And like I said, I have everything loose. There's a little bit of wiggle room to kind of get everything fitted up in there. And guys, if you haven't already torn these apart, whenever you're pulling these drive shafts off, it's inevitable unless you tape them or zip tie them. But when they pop out of the diff cups, they're not like the Armas where they're real easy to just pop back in. You got to move them and get them just at the right angle to get those things to pop back in there. So don't fight with it too long. Just take your time. They'll eventually go back in. I promise. And there we have it. Center diff's dropped in there. Everything is nice and smooth. So now we got that in there. We're going to go ahead and drop in the Delron supports or spacers to keep the diff locked in there. And then on top of that is the mounting plate. And all the screws are supplied in there. And then also with this, these screws, which are also in your first pack, will be for your top motor mounts and the locking screw that's down here. So it's a third point of contact on the motor to keep that thing from the mesh shifting around, which is just awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and get the spacers put in here, and we're just about finished up. And then also, I'll show you guys I'll get them installed today, and I'll show you what they look like, but the new hubs for the sledge. So let's get working. Oh man, guys, this thing is a work of art. I mean, it just looks fabulous. And look how easy it is now to adjust your motor mesh. Just slide it in, and now you're locked in. You can set it. You can just put whatever pinion you want on there, anything you want to do. No more fighting with the stupid plastic block and that whole goofy design. Not sure what Traxxas was going for with this 2-piece design and this whole little block. It's definitely some weird proprietary BS. I don't know why they did that. And guys, I love the car. Really happy with the Sledge, having a blast with this thing, but one of those weird things that they did with this design that, I've tried to figure out why they may have done it, and the only thing that it always leads back to was they were trying to make it so you had to use their stuff. You had to use their motor, their parts, really is what most of it comes back to. But anyway, that stuff's out of there now, and now we got some of the beautiful M2C racing parts in here. And guys, I cannot wait to test this thing out. We're going to go ahead and run this thing like this next time, and then the next upgrade we'll be doing to this is the ESC, and giving this thing probably a Max 6, I think is what I'm going to put in here. I might drop one of my Firma ESCs in here and test that out to see how it runs and how it drives this motor. But we're going to go ahead, get the mesh set, get this thing all back together again, and easy as that, guys. Anybody that's usually doing these kind of upgrades and changing their cars out, this is a piece of cake. I mean, very self-explanatory. You read the instructions real quickly, and all the little pieces go together real quick in your brain. You see where they're going with the whole design, and it's super easy and very quickly to put together. I mean, I've only been down here for probably, 25 minutes, 30 minutes. Somewhere around there, and she's pretty much almost ready to go. Also, far easier once you take the side skirt off to do all this. I would suggest that from the start. I waited halfway through and decided to pull it off then. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and get my mesh set, get the rest of the screws tightened up, and get it all back together, and then we'll go ahead and throw on the new hubs, and we'll check it out with that. And I'll see you guys in a moment. All right, guys. Well, everything is all buttoned up and tightened up and ready to go. And this was my cure for the wires going into the center diff and the gear mesh on this thing. I just put a small hold on here. Usually I was using one big zip tie. However, I've ran out of large zip ties, so I'm using two small ones, but it helps keep everything over here to the side out of the way nice and clean so that those wires can't flop over there. But guys, everything is in there and fit up beautiful. And this motor has got a lot of... The magnets are strong in this thing, and that's why I'm definitely think it needs a lot beefier ESC to drive this thing, and this thing's going to be a beast. But running the stock center diff gear with a 15-tooth pinion now, went up 2 teeth, but I think this thing's going to be a blast. But that's going to finish up this part. That's how everything should look, guys, and all the hardware. There's quite a bit of hardware left over after you're done from all the old stuff, and you can set that stuff aside if you ever need it. But I think this is going to be a great upgrade. I mean, it's a must do, I'd say, for this car if you're wanting to change the gearing and modify this thing, because the stock motor mount design just does not work. It allows that flex. The chassis flexes with a 2-piece design. You lose that gear mesh. People are destroying the teeth on their spur because of that, because it's allowing the flex independently. Now it's all locked together in one piece, and that cannot happen. And this has been a proven design for a long time, so definitely a great thing to have in a Sledge. But we're gonna go get the wheel nuts on this thing and get this bad boy finished up. All right, guys, well, we are getting them mounted up here, and man, these things are just beautiful, guys. The workmanship that goes into this stuff is just phenomenal. But these are the hub extenders. I believe, I gotta double check, but I do believe these are +5 for each side, so you're getting 10 millimeters of width. And then nuts on these things are just great, and they fit up beautiful. And now you got something to actually grab a hold of here without having to use this goofy wrench. I know some 17 points do fit, but that is just another one of goofy Traxxas proprietary garbage. And this is the proper way, and that just looks awesome. But I'm getting them fit mounted up here. Got the second one getting on here now. Get ready to mount the wheel. We're going to finish this thing up, get the tire brace on, and should be finished up and ready to rock, guys. All right, everybody. Well, everything is all mounted up. All the new hubs are mounted up, and everything fit beautiful. Like, you know, everything M2C puts out there, guys. I mean, just the fit, finish, and tolerances are just beautiful. So the new hub extenders are on there with the proper 17 millimeter nuts, so you don't need that goofy plastic wrench anymore. Got that all mounted up on there. We got the new motor mount set up in here, and everything fit up beautiful. Like I said, I'm running a stock spur with a 15-tooth pinion now. Mesh is beautiful. Everything just fit in there just perfect. So couldn't be happier. Can't wait to take this thing out. I'm not sure yet. I haven't been told when this will be released. Obviously, it just got into the hands of us testers, and we're going to get to run this thing, beat them around a little bit, and see if any tweaks or changes need to be made. And, you know, that's the great thing about M2C, guys. They don't just make something, chuck it out there to the public, and let them find the problems or deal with the issues. They try to get everything found out before they release it, and do the modifications before it hits anybody's hands, and, you know, dealing with that. So, you know, people are all over the country, you know, out in the sand, hot, cold, dirt, mud, and we test this thing out, you know, different locations throughout the whole country with everybody on the testers team. And it's just a great way to properly check over the products and make sure everything is holding up to all conditions. So big shout out to M2C Racing. They do a phenomenal job and just put out some extraordinary parts, guys. So huge shout out to Mitch and Avery Looper, guys. You guys do amazing work. But that's going to do it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the install video, but that's going to be it. So until next time, y'all be safe. Be careful out there. Peace out, everybody.